Oh gosh, I've been starting off these videos lately by coughing, and that's probably not a good thing. But on the upside of things, my sickness is starting to roll over just a little bit. This morning I woke up pretty much fine for the most part. I had very few coughs and very little sniffles, and then after I napped about midday today, 1 or 2 o'clock, it kind of came back really hard, and ever since then I've been having problems with my sickness. Uh, but here's the good news. It is Saturday. The place that I work at is closed on Monday for 4th of July, which means I have a 3-day weekend to do all of the videos that I need to do for you guys. And I kind of want to do a live stream sometime throughout this weekend, possibly Monday. I'm thinking is probably the best day to do it, even though it's the 4th of July. It's kind of going to be frantic. Tuesday, I have to go to my job, and then hopefully Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I'm going to start traveling up to my family reunion, which doesn't end until Sunday of next week. So, like, this next week is going to be really, really frantic. So, I kind of have to push out all these videos to you guys sooner and later. The other thing is, I kind of want to apologize for these videos not coming out earlier. I uploaded the M200 earlier, and that was supposed to be the first video, and then the next day I was supposed to do another video, and so on and so forth. But that didn't technically happen, mostly because, again, the sickness kind of hit me pretty hard. There was a point in time where I was really, really not doing well. I was throwing up, and it was not looking good in terms of my health. But it's kind of gone away to the point where I can start doing more videos, and at the same time, because I'm not working 9 to 6 right now, I can make videos for you guys because that is another thing. With my job now, I just don't have the amount of time that I used to make videos and do things like that. That does not mean the channel's going to die. That does not mean I'm going to leave the channel to die. But I will have to stop putting out videos as much as I used to, stop doing like godly amounts of live streams, things like that. Uh, Also, another thing with live streams, I know this video is dragging on. We're already at 2 minutes in. Um, I want the live stream thumbnails to be a wireframe model of what I'm doing. So the difference between an actual review model, what you're going to see here as a thumbnail, versus a live stream thumbnail is going to be a wireframe model preview. So from now on, live stream thumbnails and my actual review videos will have different thumbnails to make the distinction, because my live stream thumbnails can tend to be a little bit misleading, and I've been looking for a professional, clean cut solution that isn't the same thing that I use for standard review videos of my models. So, from now on, as you can see with the Dingo videos that are uploaded already, we're going to be using a wireframe model that looks something like this. This is something that Blue Render does, and it captures the look, and it shows you the bricks. Each line shows you another brick. So this is like a really long brick here. This is one brick, and then all these tires and stuff up here. But at the same time, like it's still Lego. Obviously, it's not any different. So that's what I'm going to start doing from now on to show you guys. But we're at 3 minutes and 38 seconds. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the second SMG that we've seen from Modern Warfare 2. I've already shown you guys the MP5K model that I've done, and I will be putting that in a playlist to show you guys after this. But the second SMG that you unlock in MW2 is the UMP-45. And I did not want to open up a calculator, my bad. So, this is the UMP-45 that we have made from Modern Warfare 2. This is actually a pretty cool model. There's a few different features in here that I'm not used to. In particular, I'm really happy with how this top area turned out, which is a little surprising because generally speaking, I'm not really worried about how the top area turned out, but I used some different bricks than what I normally do, and that turned out really, really well. And they're actually really cool bricks. I'm kind of hoping to find a little bit more of them in my real life collection so that I can use them more often because they're really helpful. The other thing is that the main body is 5 studs through this area, 4 studs in this area, 3 studs this grip area, 4 studs here, 5 studs here, and then 3 studs throughout the stock and 1 stud in the middle. So I'm using a lot more odd dimensions in this weapon than I normally would with weapon models and things like that. But Here it is, the UMP-45 from Modern Warfare 2. Obviously, all of the Modern Warfare 2 models that I've built are Master Edition models because they look absolutely fantastic and they have all the necessary working features that they should, and the UMP-45 is not an exception to that. Alright, so butt pad, pretty standard butt pad. It's got the cheese slopes on it. Nice black two-tone finish to it. Back here we have the sling mount on the stock point. See here we have cheese slopes going up the entire length of the stock just to give it a very clean cut look with a second sling mount right here in the middle of the stock. On the top here we have ourselves the rounded cheek well basically so that you can use these standard iron sights. The front iron sight is the standard MP5 iron sight that I've always used, and then the rear iron sight is a new one that I specifically built for this model. It's non-adjustable, of course. It's just a standard iron sights that you can see in game. Pretty basic. The stock mech that you see here, huge shout out to Extreme Guns, Caro. He's the one that came up with this design. It's the same design that my different username used in his UMP-45 stock mechanism. And because both of them used it, I'm pretty much going to use it as well. These Technic pieces are rounded, which means whenever you go to close it, it pretty much closes itself, not to mention this slope piece. Or, well, this button will retract and then come and lock into place like it properly should. So that's the reason I'm using this. I want to say the one drawback that I have on this model, and I do need to say this, is it works off of a mechanical pencil spring. It won't work off of a normal rubber band because there's no room for it on my model in particular. So it does have to work off of a mechanical pin spring or a pin spring, and that's the one problem that I have. But other than that, this is a fairly awesome mechanism. It rotates on these pieces here, and the reason for this is because it rotates on these basically. Whenever you go and you rotate it on outwards, oh gosh, yeah, did not mean to do that. Whatever. Whenever you go and you rotate it outwards, that's a problem that I did not notice was a thing until now, so I'm obviously going to have to fix that later on. So yeah, my models are not without flaw, guys. That is a disclaimer. Like, yeah, this is obviously a problem that I did not see when I was building this model, and because of that, I will have to fix this. So that's something that I'm going to have to do. So if there's an update video for the UMP-45, you know why. But anyhow, back to the main point here is that this right here, because it rotates on this pin, it sticks out a whole stud away from the edge of the model, which means your stock can fully fold over without having to hit anything like the fire selector, the brass deflector, the rail system up here. None of that is going to get affected by the stock, and that means you can rotate it all the way over. So the only problem that I have here on a Master Edition model that's kind of embarrassing is that this was not fully thought out all the way, so obviously this is going to need to be fixed. There's no way to actually retain it inside of here from the looks of it, so the way that I'm going to fix that is by using these pieces once more, basically going through here. So all we're going to really do is have to figure out how to back this button up just a little bit so that I can get a piece going in right there, and then we'll be all good. But anyhow, it's kind of embarrassing, but it's whatever. Every Lego builder has flaws, and that one just so happens to be one of mine. I'm really happy with this lower receiver. It's a really awesome lower receiver. First off, this grip is 3 studs wide, as you can see here. It's rounded on the back and the front with cheese slopes, which is awesome. It has grip panels going down the side that are smooth, which is fantastic. And then I did this new design for the HK kind of style of magazine release because it's a circle and it has this. So or not magazine release, fire selector, that's my bad. So what I was able to do was basically take one of these pieces and you stick it on between these two and then put this stud on. And then you get this design going on. And the reason I use this piece here is because this piece has only circles. So this the cross piece here is going to hold on the entire selector. to it. It's on both sides, completely ambidextrous, as it should be. So you can rotate it on both sides, no problem. We have the trigger here, fairly standard trigger design. And you can pull it. Of course, LDD has collision errors and things like that, so you can pull the trigger back and forth as you please. You also have the trigger guard, fairly basic trigger guard. This was kind of hard to do because it comes down like so, it goes up into where your magazine release starts. But at the same time, this piece here is technically what holds it on because there's a stud right above here. And I could not get the proper angle down on this model. So this is technically free floating, but the studs are there to allow it to work. And here is the magazine release. As you can see, you can pull it forward or push it forward to drop the magazine, kind of like a AK-47 would basically. Fairly standard style of magazine release. Cool thing is that this is actually a 3-stud wide magazine, just like so. And instead of having a little slit cut out into the back of the magazine for the magazine release, there's actually this little bump right here, and this little bump is all it really needs to stay into the model itself. So it's awesome. Down here on bottom we have our standard little rubber pad so that if you drop the magazine it doesn't like instantly shatter on the floor. And like I said, this up here is a 5-stud wide magwell. Really like how I pulled off this design. This uses a modified version of Jim's and Caro's kind of grip design, basically. So they have a pistol design that uses hinge pieces so that the magazine can go all the way up into the top of the slide. So I took that design and I adapted it to use in this magwell right here. You can see just right here the clip that and hinge piece that's being used to form the magwell itself. And then it's held in place simply by gravity, and then all of this junk that you're seeing through here. So this angle part here, these bracket pieces, all of this right through here is from all of that. So something really interesting. Oh boy, all right, that's a little bit better. Nose is not congested, I can breathe. Of course, we have our working bolt release. So basically how this works is fairly standard. If I simply kind of back everything up so that you guys can see inside of here. This gray part here is part of the bolts. This here is the bolt catch itself. You can see that this piece sits just below where the bolt backs up. When the bolt is all the way back and you push down on this bottom part of the bolt here, this tab will come up in front of the bolts and the bolt won't be allowed to go forward because this will be blocking the way. So whenever you put in a fresh mag and you press this portion of the bolt, which is the actual button, it's because this is above the pivot point, which is right here, this portion is going to drop down to where it is now, and your bolt is going to be allowed to go back forward, functioning as our fully working bolt catch. Fairly simple design. It's not mechanical in any way, shape, or form. You have to do it with your thumb yourself, but those are the types of bolt releases that I like, so it's all good. On this side, we have our dust cover. This was a super fun thing to do because I was using upside down building techniques through here, using curved pieces, and it looks really, really good. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Looks exactly like the real model. We'll talk about the front here in a second, or the top of it here in a second. And then, of course, in the front, we have ourselves our 3-sided tactical rail system for lights and foregrips, which is pretty awesome. So there's one here, and one down here. And then on the front here, we have this hand stop that also combines with our 2 sling mounts on either side in case you're running a sling. And then, of course, we have our barrel, which goes all the way through the handguard, all the way to the back here. As you can see, you can barely see it. Now you can see it even more. In fact, you can see parts of the bolts back here, and here. So it backs all the way up to the bolt, which is something that I really, really like. because then you're able to kind of imagine that it's more realistic, basically. So something that the bolt looking down at just reminded me is that we can actually pull this on back like so. That's our charging handle that we're looking at. And we can lock it up. You can go farther, but for some reason LDD has collision errors going on throughout here. So we can try our best to do this, but I don't think it's going to work, to be completely honest. But as you can see, even going up this far, this piece here would have contact with this piece and that would lock it back. But I know for a fact that this can and should rotate up even further, but it won't. There we go. All right, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. There we go. And then it hits this piece up here. So that's as far up as we can go, which is awesome because that means the bolt gets locked back like so. And then you can see that right here is the top of the magazine, right here, which is awesome because that means you can remove the magazine itself, and we'll just put it there for now. And you can see up through the top of it, and this is the rod that connects to the charging handle. And that is such an awesome feature. I love that feature so much. So that's incredible. And then up here is where the actual barrel connects. So if I was more prepared, I could take and put these circle pieces in like so, and then that would technically be our chamber. And that's just a super cool thing that I really like. And then we can HK slap this so that the bolt goes forward. Or if the locks open on the last shot, we can simply press on the bolt catch and we're good to go. That's something really cool that I really like about this. How long is this video? It seems like forever. It's 17 minutes long. This is just an awesome, incredible MOC that I've jam-packed full of features, so I can understand why it's this long. Now then, this is part of the areas that I'm really happy with. This is such a cool thing to do. So usually when you're doing stuff like this, you get this kind of feeling that whatever you're doing is really weak up here. But what I used was actually this lesser used piece right here. This is a 4x8 plate that has a smooth edge all the way around it, but has studs in the center that I can use to attach these pieces to. So what I can do is layer these throughout the model. Here's one right here that just takes up 8 studs of space worth on this side, and then it uses these pieces on top of it to form just this really more strong version of something else that we could generally do. So instead of this being a bunch of these pieces turned sideways like so, going throughout here, I can take advantage of all 8 studs right here and use a complete 4x8 plate here, and then put these on top of it, which have all these studs right here, 5 studs worth of space to connect to. And that's something that I really enjoy because that's just, it's more strong basically. It's stronger, I should say. So this is just a really cool model. I really love what I've done with this. It's a little embarrassing that this had a flaw in it that I did not recognize until after this video, and I do readily admit that this is in fact a flaw that was not purposeful. I did not know that the stock was broken like it is, basically, with that issue. So that is something that we will have to take a look at after recording this model, but it's a very simple fix. All I'm going to do is take and push this button back so that it's in the middle of this basically, and then take and copy one of these over to here, not there, here, because the button will stick out here, and then the part that locks in right here will stick out here on this edge, and then it will be locked into place with the stock over here, and then the spring goes on the other side over here. So that's how that's going to work basically, but that will be in a different video if I decide to make a video, because that's honestly not that big of a change to make a full another video on this, and we're already at 20 minutes long. So that is in fact the UMP-45 Modern Warfare 2 Mastery Edition. It's been 20 minutes worth of talking and I am sick. I need to put out more videos for you guys, so I think in the next video we're going to be taking a look at some form of an assault rifle, probably the first one that you unlock in game, and we'll just continue to go down the order. So that's it for this video. We'll see you guys later in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, comment, rate, and subscribe for more videos similar to this one. See you guys later.